Hi, this is Joe, and today I'll be reviewing the WL Toys A959 Vortex 1/18 scale electric ready-to-run buggy car. Now this car is four-wheel drive and it's 1/18 scale, so I want to give you a good idea of the size of this car compared to my hand. It's about the size of my hand. Now for comparison's sake, here is a 1/10 scale vehicle, so you can see it's considerably smaller. This is hobby grade. This is hobby grade. This is entry level hobby grade. I want to clarify that. There's a lot of features I like about this. Namely, it goes fast. They're claiming it can go 50 kilometers per hour, which is approximately 31 miles per hour, and I believe them. It's got a low ground clearance, so it's not going to do great on grass, but it is four-wheel drive, and as long as you keep it moving, you'll be able to get through there. Now, when you do get the case, you want to take off the protective film. It comes with a protective film. I want to show you what else you get in the case. You get a charger, well, plug-in charger, and then you get a little balance charger here. And you get a 2-cell, 7.4 volt, 1100 milliamp hour Lipo battery right here. Now this is definitely hobby grade. This is essentially a battery without the heavy metal covering, so you got to be careful with these. You also get a hex nut screw, and as you can see in there, I've already broken one of the pieces. I've broken one of the rear arm supports, but I was able to, for $7, order an aluminum upgrade part, so you can see that. So I've already damaged this, and what happened is I was doing some speed runs with it, and I banged into a curb with this, and it just knocked that little part right out. Also want to mention you get a large, and I'm talking a large instruction manual. But I think the reason it's so large is because they give you the full-scale part blowout. So I can see it. At first I was like, man, that's a huge manual. But look, when they're giving you something like this that shows you all the parts and the numbers and how to order it, it actually makes a lot of sense. So kudos to them for doing it. Again, recommend. I put everything in my Ziploc freezer bags just to keep everything in one spot. Let me go back and show you what happened here. As I was testing this product, went out, and a little arm on the back, as you can see, it just snapped. The little piece, the little teeny tiny piece just snapped. So that was my fault. I was running it out front. It hit a curb and it was wet pavement, so it slid into it, but the wheel just kind of fell right off. So another feature of the hobby grade cars is that you can get replaceable parts. So I was able to get a replaceable part for this. You can just look up WL Toys A959, even though this is being sold by Metakoo, and you can go ahead and get that part. So that kind of saved the day for me. I was a little sad, but I wasn't completely at a loss. I just knew I had to go back and look up the part. So you get a four-wheel independent suspension. This is four-wheel drive. Oh, I didn't show you the transmitter. Let me add that. You get a very nice transmitter. This looks a lot like the DX2E that I have. It's got a nice foam wheel, nothing, you know, the antenna goes down for storage. It's 2.4 gigahertz. It's got a throttle trim and a steering trim, which will adjust whether you go left or right. You know, if the car is going a little to the left, you want to turn the steering trim to the right. If it goes a little to the right, you want to turn it to the left. Eventually, you'll get the car to track straight. Although with this particular car, I had problems getting it to track straight. It would track always a little to the left or a little to the right. It kind of spins these wheels out, and so once it goes on a new tangent, it's off on that new direction. So that's one thing I didn't like about this car. Also, they claim it's got waterproof electronics, but again with that, just because the manufacturer claims it doesn't mean I need to test it, and it doesn't mean that I advise it. Anything, you get this underwater, eventually it's going to go out. Something's going to go. There's lots of electronic parts. Now it's been designed, I would say, okay, even though they claim waterproof, let's just assume water resistance. Yes, you can take it through very low water. You know, you can basically what I interpret this to mean is that you could take this out in the rain and you'll be fine, but I would not put it through some puddles, especially deep puddles, because this one's so low to the ground. So let me go ahead and power it up real quick so you can see what you get. They claim 33 miles per hour, and that's a bold statement, and that's pretty fast for a little car, and I believe that it gets close to that speed, if not that speed. I have no reason to assume that they would lie about that given what they got. So let me turn the transmitter on. The power button's right here. Turns that on. Then you come down here, there's a little on-off switch. The wheels turn. Let me show you again. This is proportional control. So as I turn my wheels a little bit to the left, it goes. So look at that again, just a little bit, or you go just a little bit or all the way. So that proportional control is key. Four-wheel drive is essential because this car is so little. It's got such little ground clearance. If you really gave it two-wheel drive, it just wouldn't perform nearly as good. So the saving grace of this car is the four-wheel drive. But the other saving grace about this car is the fact that you can order spare parts. Now let me show you kind of how fast this goes. You can see it's four-wheel drive, four wheels are moving. This guy hauls. This guy seriously hauls. One of the things I did not like about this car is the lack of bumpers. Again, it's got a little teeny tiny bumper there, and it's got a little teeny tiny bumper back there. Let me tell you, you go 33 miles an hour, you hit this in a curb, you're going to demolish it. You're going to have to it'd be cheaper to just buy a new one at that point. So really look at where you take this. It's designed for loose gravel, loose dirt, and pavement. But make sure when you do pavement, make sure that you avoid curves. This has no bumper. I could not find an upgrade for the bumper. There's just these two little screws. I guess if you had a 3D printer and a lot of time, you could design a big front bumper for here. It's not like the RPM bumper I could get from my Stampede, which is great because that really pays for itself in pretty much one time you save it. So again, four-wheel drive, it rips. It goes forward, reverse. And it's really a lot of fun. And what really takes this over the next level is the speed factor, because this little car is tiny, but it just moves around so fast. Ton of fun. Again, had a little problem with the steering trim, and I wish it had more of a bumper because it is kind of that entry level. I also wish it had a little bit more of a ground clearance and some bigger tires, just so it could kind of go over more terrain. I had this and I hit the entryway to my driveway from the road, and it's kind of got about an inch lip, and it just kind of went whack. So it couldn't even get over an inch lip on my driveway. So you got to go slow and then it'll hop over it. But if you go full speed, you'll just tank the car. So be real careful about that. Again, they claim it's waterproof, but I really wouldn't take this out anything more than rain. I really wouldn't run it through puddles. I'd avoid sand, the beach, salt water. I'd just be real careful. I'd take good care of it, and it should last you a long time. So thanks again for watching, and see you next time.